today's class is about answering a lot of questions. Some people have said that other people don't have gratitude. So I'm going to work on that, how to detach from that space, because in real deep Buddhism there is the illusion of all these manifestations plays like a hologram. It's like a movie. So if you take a role of an actor and seeing the point of view from an actor, then you get caught up into the source of suffering. So today's practice is how to remove, but yet you are part of that spectator, but without taking a side, so that you can watch a movie without taking a side. And it's not your director's cut what is the end part of the movie. So if you can come into this place in life, it will give you the directions in that space. What is your next moment to be? What is your giving birth to? What is your coming into creativity? And it's never, ever, ever too late. Now, this is too late also comes from the identification with the mind and the time. Now, if I can recreate myself to serve the purpose of that, even in 53, you all can, and it's never in the age. So let's see what we are investing on, and that's where our returns are going to be. So saying this, coming to this realization through this practice, finding a gentle pose that you can allow the body to settle without forcing. And I will gently move the space of the camera towards Darren. Now very gently take a deep breath in, and very gently with this chest and with this COVID going on, let's get the prana into the body. So prana is not so much of the belly, it's actually on the chest. So what we can do is we can gently tap into this space of the rib cage and very gently start softening and opening and activating that energy that our neuropaths are created from the brain to the body, and opening up the space of the lungs, So now we take a deep breath in and very gently feeling that we are breathing not so much onto the belly, but to the space of the lungs. Deep breathing, and very gently allow that breath to move out. Just from the lungs, not so much of pulling the belly in and coming into that space. So start doing about 6 deep cycles of breathing in and breathing out. So it's more like a Ujjayi pranayama, but it is filling the parts of the lungs, the upper, middle, and the lower lungs. I'll move the camera towards Darren while you're doing the 6 deep cycles of breath, because this is creating that opportunity for you to become the space of the body, space of the prana, because this is very important. The prana, which works with the space of the aura, and you're opening up the space of the heart. So you're opening up that any difficulty, you're opening up that space of the energy of the heart. Rebecca and Daz is there. Now take a deep breath in, arms very gently raised onto the crown, interlacing the fingers, palms facing up, and very gently take a deep breath in and holding onto your left wrist and breathing out, and keep that left buttock on the floor and stretching towards the right, but also allowing that right rib cage to be open. Now keep that neck settle, keep that head settle, and keep that breath still happening onto the upper chest, middle chest, and lower chest. Breathing in back to the center, and very gently you're twisting the spine to the left side. So you stretch the body to the right, but you're twisting the spine on the out breath onto the left side and opening up and creating that space that you're working on with more level of awareness, that you're very gently releasing yourself and coming to know the body and the mind. Not necessarily my mind, not necessarily my body, but the body and the mind, and what is the weather patterns in that space. Breathing in back to the center. Now very gently, arms raise onto the crown still, and keeping your right buttock on the floor, holding onto the right wrist, facing the right palm up, and stretching towards the left. Keep breathing. Keep breathing. Keep allowing this body and the mind to be in a reasonable, fair state, not forcing. Breathing in back to the center. Drop the buttocks onto the floor a bit more, elongate the spine, twist the spine very gently onto the right side. Breathing in back to the center, shoulders relax and chest open. Now very gently take a deep breath in and shrug the shoulders up till the head back, and massage the back of the skull very gently, making a gentle difference in that energy portal. Very gently, subtle differences that you make on each breath with the body and the mind, and you have become the witnessing of the witness, observer of the observation. Breathing in back to the center, shoulders relax. Now very gently, chin to the chest, breathe out. Very gently collapse the spine into a gentle space of the cat. Very gently breathing out. Breathing in, shoulders roll back, push gently the belly, not so much forcing out. Chest open into a space of cow, and breathe out into a gentle space of the cat. Breathing in into the space of the cow. Tongue roll up onto the upper palate, energy gaze onto the third eye. Very gently taking from that finity to the infinity. Breathe out, anus lock, navel lock, throat lock. And try not to add anything mentally into the mind or to the body. And just embracing the moment as it is. No narratives need to be there. Identification is always for the mind. It's never for the soul. Now breathing in, elongate the spine, shoulders relax, and stretch the neck to the right side or head to the right side. Very gently coming into that place of deeply releasing the stage of what you're carrying, the unsatisfying things. Breathing in back into the center. Shoulders relax and stretch the body onto the other side, head onto the other side. Now, very gently, the practices is giving you that progression that you are feel to witness. And breathing in, and this practice is just bringing that inspiration and become that guiding tool to lift you from the roller coaster of suffering that you're going through. Breathing in back to the center. Now, very gently, walk those palms into the front and drop the elbows onto the floor as much as you can. It's okay to lift up your buttocks slightly on a cushion and very gently stretching those arms. And if your butt is now totally lift up, roll the hips down and get the buttocks onto the floor and very gently come into a place of the back of the body, the back of the ribs are very gently opening up. Very gently opening up. Now, very gently take a deep breath in, very gently, very gently. Take a moment. Very gently coming back. Shoulders relaxed, chest open. And very gently observe your thoughts, your habitual patterns that totally running into the front, running into the back, and you keep believing that the past or the future is where your happiness lies. So very gently coming into that moment of that gratitude that allows you to heal from these excessive habits, reminding you of the awakening, the awareness. Now very gently take a deep breath in and very gently come onto the knees, palms onto the floor, and very gently spread those fingers onto the floor, align the wrist properly, roll the elbows pointing into the back, and very gently drop the belly and lift up the throat and the head into a gentle cow. So very gently you're coming into that praise where you're receiving enough through the exposure to the body and to the mind. And very gently, this is reminding not to forget about the things that are serving us, the breath, the body, the tool, the mind. Breathe out, anus lock, navel lock, throat lock. So this is actually bringing you into that space of when you feel that you're so small and you haven't done anything in life and you have not achieved things you want to achieve. You have not realized how much greatness is there in you, regardless of the age, regardless of the time. Now very gently take a deep breath in and come into a neutral spine, shoulders relaxed. Now very gently left arm reaching up to the ceiling. Bring that right palm onto the floor. And very gently just try to understand the perceptions of your mind, where you feel that your ignorance, where you feel that your pain, fear, anger. So the understanding of the practice is not glorification of anything, but to come into the real realization. Now left arm reaching into the back under the right armpit. Very gently relax the buttocks. Very gently bring that body, shoulder blades, and very gently releasing things that you're holding, maybe the Today it might be the vulnerability. Today it might be feeling great about the compassion to your life and to yourself, or maybe to someone. Or it might be something very gentle, very fragrant, a goodness in your life, something that's happening to you now. So very gently let go of the struggle that you have with the others and yourself, and come into conclusion that you know what the others think and others are able of doing, negative or positive, and create more self and space for what you're witnessing. But all these drama and the illusion and the holograms appear. And very gently maybe letting go of that expectations in yourself and strong judgments of yourself to be perfect. Breathing in very gently, coming back. Coming back to what? Letting go of what? And what are you creating in this spaciousness? When you create that spaciousness, you're allowing that gratitude to very gently come into the awareness. How much of things are holding you that you totally didn't even know. Now very gently breathe out to a cat, very gently to release and creating that spaciousness. Breathing in into a cow, drop the shoulders, shoulders roll back. Very gently coming into that. Developing the practice, embodiment the practice, not just listening to the practice, but feeling the practice. Breathing in into a neutral spine. Very gently, right arm reaching into the front. Clench and unclench those wrists, those fingers are no longer holding on to anything. Right, very gently reaching up into the back, under the armpit. Very gently creating that space for the body to open up into that space, the mind to open up into the space, the energy of Apo, Tejo, Vayo, Patavi, earth particles, air particles, heat particles, that mindfully you're creating this space. Mindfully you're creating this awareness. By quietly admiring the view of this. Without, you don't need to forcefully attach anything into this. You're connected to the sound or the singing of your breath, the body that replying for that breath, conversations that the mind have with the body now. And you develop this gift of blessing, that your heart is more taking care of the whole body, which is a very deep, deep, deep sense of gratitude that it's made this far. Breathing in very gently, coming back, shoulders relax. Head down, neck down, completely breathe out to a space of cat. Breathing in into a gentle space of a neutral spine. And now to give a good rotation to the hips, rotation, and giving that openness to the digestion. And even the intention of greater relationships that no longer they are now, seeing them as a bitterness or sweetness, just come into the place of the intention of those relationships were great. even that they are no longer serving the purpose of your life the way you thought, but it is still serving the purpose of life. It's that the mind and its perception doesn't see it that way. They think whether someone is with you or some situation is with you or not with you. But if you really release the separation and you come into the freedom of observing the holograms of this life that you call, people that you call, the perceptions that you call, you will understand what is really happening. Give a good rotation to the other side, open up the body, the hips, the kidneys, the liver, the spleen, the pancreas, and very gently allow the body to come into that state of appearing that gentleness, humbleness, humility. And it makes that hard to feel that joy. Push the hips into the front, into the back, and stretch the spine. Palms facing up. Very gently using this pose as to inspire you and coming into the space of the challenge and see the blessings of that challenge that is freely given to you, gifted to you by life. So instead of getting caught up in the material parts of the life and what they can give the comfort, now see the part of your realization is giving a comfort beyond that manifestation. Of course, the breath, the air, the food, the clothes, of course, they are great gratitude to have. But there is something that is inspiring you, something that allows you to become the best version of yourself. So I'm using this time of my 53 years of age to come into that, what has been there for me, what has been there for me now, what is the support means for me, what is the comfort means for me, what is the practice inspires me. And in those level of inquiry, it's nothing other than gratitude comes to me. Let your heart brushes and inspires and energized by this level of inquiry. Palms very gently facing down, crawling and bringing the chest into the front. Drop the belly and soften the hips. And very gently, Bhujangasana is a great posture, elbows onto the floor, gently. Now bring your up space of the heart and the mind and see what inspires you every day, in this first thing in the morning. What has inspires you to grow, to become who you are today, even to sit with this practice. And just rather than connecting into when your teacher shows you the moon, rather than connecting into his fingers, try to see what he's actually teaching. Because it's not about what has confronted you. What has confronted you, the mind hold grudges. But just see the teaching itself, the moon that he is directing at. And having gratitude to understand that you came into that realization within yourself. And breath out, very gently drop your forehead onto the floor, elbows pointing out. Just Gently allow the hips to soften, allow the kidneys to soften. Breathe consciously and direct the breaths towards that space of the heart or space of difficulty that the body has showing you. It might be connected to emotion, it might be connected to a blockage. It's only asking you, let me flow, because I'm bored in the body by staying here, by you holding by your emotion and prisoning me this energy. I want to move out. So now bring your mind into that space, heart into that space where your problems are in the lower back, middle back, upper back. Now, when you are very gently feeling this space, palms very gently onto the floor, where your elbows are, breathing in into a up face. Very gently taking the moments of your life that has been very friendly towards you, yet has been challenging towards you, like this pose, but being good for you even with the challenges. Breathe out towards the down face. Head down, neck down, totally relax and allow the feet to draw into the mat if you're recalling that space, if you're reconnecting into your feet, palms. Now very gently lifting up onto the toes, very gently breathe out and dropping the heels onto the mat a little bit more, bending one knee at a time to release and coming into that place where you hold the tension. If there is no tension or whether there is tension, be having that gratitude to showing it. Now very gently lifting up onto the toes, drop the knees and very gently stretch the spine into the back. Knees this time wide apart, palms facing up, and try to turn those palms totally to let those palms, let the ceiling witness those palms opening up, and let the ground supports that opening up. Breathe consciously when you're opening up and direct the breath from the space of the heart into the space of difficulty. And as you breathe out, let your heart, let your difficulty of the space of that heart to feel great about this moment, great about this body. So you can acknowledge anything that you're grateful for this very moment. Some of you it might come up parents, not just the difficulty of it, but having parents. Some might be having gratitude for passing away of a grandparent or ancestor. Some of you might coming into a place of a difficulty with a sister or a brother. And very gently see where you're holding this energy in this body and bringing the heart into the space of the difficulty. And even that difficulty of this relationship or the blessing of this relationship, in both ways, through the practice, you can be very grateful for that person. Whether it was a fun affair with the person, or was it challenging, or is it the challenges were shared among the family members? But this is a very moment that if this doesn't no longer serve that purpose, having gratitude for that difficulty or the learning part and opening up this energy into the flow as you breathe out, let your heart feel that space of whether it's no longer serving you or will be a teaching. Palms very facing down. Now very gently bring the knees together. Shoulders relax. Coming into the child pose. This is a very intimate pose where you can be very gently looking into the place of your relationship with someone as a lover or a partner or a spouse or whether they are there or whether they are not there. And you're very grateful for that time, for that relationship, or this time for this relationship. So very gently allow that breath to come into the body with that openness, allowing that even if the mind is triggered by a memory of a difficulty, just to see the hologram of it, perception of it, what you had at that time or what you are having this time, in a mind level to a heart level. And if you're ready to let it be, or you're ready to let it go, or you see the blessings of it, whether he is there, she is there. And very gently, when you have that space of gratitude, is the courage to very gently wake up the spine now, one vertebra at a time. Shoulders relax and chest open. Palms facing up. This is the diamond pose where I come into a place of that beyond all my perceptions, can I be honest to myself? Have I conducted myself in the most best version of myself? If I'm not, let it consciously bring me that part, not to have guilt about it, but to see the lessons of it. Lessons is never a punishing or a guilt. Now let you, while you're sitting in this pose, let that gratitude or your understanding to become every part of your body. Let every cell of the body to come into that space. So there's space. There is a so-called body and a mind as a form. And very gently bringing your palms onto a prayer position. And very gently allow the head to bow down a little bit. And you come into that realization without the world being perfect, without the finances being perfect, how blessed you are in this very moment. And how this blessing becomes the embodiment of your practice. And how this practice has been a solid foundation to any of those greater things that you're going to be doing. Now very gently take a deep breath in and stretch the legs into the front and very gently pull out the buttocks. shoulders relax and chest open. Now very gently palms onto the floor in the back, fingers pointing into the front where the same size of the toes. Take a deep breath in and try to bring the toes down and lifting up the buttocks very gently, opening up, pulling those toes down as much as possible. So whether you want to bend the knees, whether you want to not bend the knees, it's up to you. Now very gently take a deep breath in and coming down. Don't slam towards the gravity, gently land towards the gravity. And knees to the chest to complete, breathe out. Breathing in, arms raise onto the ground and feet stretch up to the ceiling. Reflect and extend your compassion to the body, compassion to the mind of that realization. Heart. Breathe out. Breathing in. Breathe out. Breathing in. Breathe out. Breathing in. Breathe out, knees to the chest, completely breathe out. Now very gently stretch the legs back to the floor. Now very gently bring that left knee onto the chest, completely breathe out. Left foot onto the right side. Take a deep breath in. Left arm reaching up to the ceiling. And very gently landing next to the left knee. Right arm reaching into the front, up to the ceiling. Roll back onto the floor. Now bring that shoulders parallel to each other on a side way. And very gently give that lift from the spine. Very gently allowing that right foot to flex and open up its toes. And allow the breath to embrace this space that you are creating. Now remember not to create any separation or distrust by having you and another. This can really tarnish that space of community, space of the roots, space of holding the trunk. And it can create back again that tunnel to become the perception of your personal things. Take a deep breath in, very gently coming back, shoulders relax and chest open. Now knee to the chest and completely breathe out and release. Now very gently take a deep breath in, shoulders roll back, elongate the spine, allow the sitting bones to drop, spread, right knee onto the chest. Right foot onto the left side. Take a deep breath in, shoulders roll back so they're not slouching forward. They're creating that space of the heart. Very gently, left arm reaching up to the ceiling. And into the back. Now you can land the right elbow onto the knee, or you can reach up and create the space of the posture that you're going to work. And very gently coming into that space. I'm allowing to see the body in its openness, allowing to see the body in its restrictions. What you're trying to get is a connection, because current situation would have shut down the space of the heart, or shut down the space of the heart in the place of the kiosk. So now what you're doing is allowing the practice to bring that intention to open up that space that is shutting, to reconnect and vibrate in vibrancy, in health and healing. So also the realization comes that why you shut down thinking that the other person is there to harm you, affect you, but they are not too different from you itself. Breath in very gently, coming back. Shoulders relax and chest open. Knee to the chest. Now very gently stretch the legs into the front. Now take a deep breath in, sole of the feet together very gently, knees opening up, hips opening up. Not so much by force, either locking onto the toes or under the ankles locking onto the toes, creating the space of the Kumarasana, the great tortoise that takes responsibility for its own unpleasant emotion and pain to clear the way. So, you know, when you eat certain level of food or anything, your digestion and flagellant creates, it's the same for the mind. If there are certain thoughts, and if the practice is not allowing you to take the responsibility for these unpleasant thoughts and emotions, it also have that level of flagellant that comes to opposite to compassion, opposite to willingness. It's almost come in projecting the expectations and demands and hopes and wishes on everything. And then you become quite an angry person with everything that is there. So this is not to say that you're important, but also as a community that everything else is important, even the opposition. Breathing in very gently, coming out of that space of the Kumarasana, shoulders roll back, opening up and embracing the healing of the practice today, even it is a very gentle practice. And very gently keeping that openness, the wideness, the panoramic view of the heart out into every moment. So that the thought, when it appears as a hologram, also disappears if you don't hold on to it. And then you can come into this space of samadhi. So then it is extending your compassion. Now it's not compassion to people that you only love and hold, but even the compassion to the most challenging situation that you have to deal tomorrow or day after. So at this very moment, what your insecurity is creating, you can send the security of friendliness and the kindness to yourself. Breathing in very gently, shoulders roll back, lift up the space of the heart. Now very gently breathe out to a space of the cat by holding into the ankles. Breathing in rolled and coming into the space of the cow. Breathe out into the space of the cat. Breathing in very gently, coming back, shoulders roll back, opening up that chest. Lift up the space of the heart. Now coming into a gentle space of a sitting for the next few minutes. Today is a moment to reflect on your journey to this practice, to the ongoing practice with me. And whatever the difficulty is today, bringing the heart into that space, even that you are not ready to see it as it is. The true peace in this moment is not coming into the perception of the difficulty. So breathe consciously and direct that breath into the space of the heart. And elevate that space of the heart. Elevate that space to create a vibration to very gently move from that lower levels of vibration of what is reasonable, what is not right, the insult, what they did. Very gently now, without the separation, you can reflect on that moment. And your practice is nothing other than, it doesn't have to be verbal, but if you really see a verbal conversation with this, if you want to create the form of another, your neutrality is just saying that may you be well. And you're wishing that kindness to that person who is having the difficulty to create misery to you and to her or to others. So you're giving the blessing of may you enjoy the truth of your life. And you want them to be well. Because even something happens to them, you will feel sad about it. So maybe your life will be now filling with your true purpose of the practice. Now, once you come into this difficulty, the only way to approach it is not from the mind, but from the space of the heart, and creating less restriction in your body and the mind, because then the body and the mind will take decisions that you need to bring that enemy into a neutral space or a stranger into a neutral space. So you can work much more easily with that difficulty. Now, when you come into this realization today, we're going to do a gentle class. Arms very gently raise back to the crown. Very gently cleansing the space and the aura. And very gently that palms onto the crown chakra. And that little difference that you have made, even the mind wants a big difference. Very gently protecting the third eye. The small difference that you make in every day. Bringing the palms onto the throat chakra. Bringing that small difference that you do it in every moment. Bringing into the heart chakra. Realizing that the small difference that you make every day, every moment. In every difficulty, you keep this space of the heart open. Very gently coming into the solar plexus. and coming into life, not just following life, but living life into its fullest. Navel chakra, very gently realizing the importance of the community. Muladhara chakra, I'll let that practice, the inspiration and the guiding comes to you through this practice throughout the day. Palms onto the floor, arms raised back to the crown, cleansing that progression that you feel to witness. Touch the earth. Respect for all the earth elements while you are taking temporary refuge in this very time, in this finity of the earth, but yet living in the infinity. Very gently coming out of the physical movement, out of the mental movement as it is, trying not to add anything to the moment as it is without any narrative, embracing the truth. And always remember that identification is always for the mind, it was never for the soul. It was separation was never part of the soul. Gently palms onto the namaskar, position in that self-realization. Very gently coming into ourselves. Today's practice is how to be in that moment. How to just not be with buzzing, with busyness, with restlessness in the space of the soul, but coming into that deep, deep realization to enhance our relationship to our health, our relationship to our wealth, our relationships to our well-being, and inquiring ourselves, are we living in these spaces in the most realized version of ourselves? Namaste.